Good evening from Israel and all sorts of different time zones in the world. I'm grateful to the internet and I'm grateful to Time Buddy. And my name is Dr. Tova Goldfein. This is TMS Roundtable Global. And I am grateful to you, Rose. It is bright and early there in Australia.
No, it's not bright. Not another 2 hours.
It's just early.
It's the dead of night here.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again. Hi, Scotty. Now, you know, we bring you people that have either able to help you or have helped themselves. That's a very important component to remember. You have to give yourself, say, 20% of your energy for your healing. Remember, your somatic pain is about repressed emotions. That's feelings that you don't know you've got. So when you ask yourself, I don't feel angry, it doesn't matter whether you feel it or not, you probably are angry in some way or other. Or you're sad and you've repressed that. Or you've got loving feelings and you've repressed those because they're not safe. All of these issues are about safety and lack of safety. The desire to remain safe means repress your feelings and you will continue on. But of course, as we all know, it creates somatic pain and autoimmune problems. Now, we've got Frances Graham today, and Frances has a lifetime of somatic pain, but she's turned it around. She's now a coach, and not only that, she's a nutritionist, and she speaks about diet and how it affects our body. But the other wonderful thing is she's a practitioner of Qigong. Now, Qigong is like yoga, like Tai Chi, but it's got a grounding sort of idea. So hopefully we're going to have a little demo of it today. But first of all, Frances, please give us an idea of your journey, because that's the important thing for everyone to realize, that this is a journey and it doesn't end with getting rid of your somatic pain. It begins by becoming aware of the things that create the somatic pain, the feelings of not worth or self-criticism and all of those other things that go along with somatic pain. So thank you so much for joining us today, Frances. So give us a little background, please.
Okay, thank you for your kind introduction, Rose. And I greatly appreciate what you guys are doing for communities all over the world. And yes, you're exactly right. It starts with awareness and acknowledgement, which actually takes people many years to get even to that spot, you know, where you're like, okay, I get it. I see what's going on. Now the real work starts. So it all began as a childhood. I was always having stomach aches, issues. I didn't know I had so many food allergies. And really, I think between that and having a lot of trauma, you know, it just created this thing in my body where I was using my fight or flight instinct too much. I was having so many things happening constantly that, you know, I was running out of that juice in our body that we need to survive and be healthy and, you know, vibrant humans. And so I think it all kind of came to the head when I graduated from culinary school in 2009. I barely made that. I was sitting in a corner over at my mother-in-law's house, shaking in the corner, not able to function, just sitting in a corner, you know, just like defeated. Went to the doctor, they put me on a heart monitor. My heart was failing. And it was all from Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a thyroid disease. And then from then on, I just got diagnosed with several other diseases. But my journey didn't even start there. It didn't start until I got tired, sick and tired of just being bedridden three months a year, being such a young woman. I was in my 30s at the time. And, you know, in your 30s, it's supposed to be a peak of your life. So I was, you know, finding myself not able to join events or be with family or anything because I was just so.
So you were feeling bad about feeling bad.
Right. So it's a lot of chronic fatigue stuff going on. So, and I was getting to a point where I was like, really, all I could think about was my health and how my health was bad. And, you know, it was tiring in itself. It felt like a full-time job just managing my health issues. So I drove by the center. It said Tao, you know, Tai Chi or whatever. When I was driving in Chandler, Arizona, I would drive by it for 3 years in a row, I would drive by that place. And I finally, something nudged me and said, after a near-death experience where I went to the White Tunnel and everything, you know, it was a really profound experience. I said, wow, I have to start listening to my body. I have to listen to myself instead of thinking I can just do this on my own. I need help. I need other people to help me. And the first step is helping myself. So I stopped into the center, walked in. I thought everything was woohoo and crazy. And for some reason, I just did it anyway. And they did it.
Listen to your gut. Listen to your gut.
I finally did, actually, after ignoring it so long. And so I walked in there, that very welcoming people. I will be very full disclosure and say it was miserable every step of the way. But I kept going back, and I did it 3 times a week, 4 times a week. And every week I went, I felt better. So I'm like, even though this is making me miserable, I do not like exercising this way. My energy's coming back. And so it was like, you know, like a battery that you put in a doll, and the little battery is at 5% power, 10% power. You know, it just keeps going up in the power. And I had so much power by the time 6 months hit, and then a year hit. And I
want to make a point, because you're talking about a conflict, but you accepted the conflict. It wasn't like you said, I hate this, I love this. It was like you understood it's not your thing, but you saw the goods. This is very important, because like Rose taught me a lot about, you can be angry, but your body doesn't have to respond negatively, or your body doesn't have to respond with symptoms. You just have to accept the anger, accept your body's having symptoms, and just recognize that. So what I saw is you don't really like exercise, but you trusted. So you trusted your feelings. You acknowledged your feelings. This is what I'm seeing. So this is a healthy.
I think it's a process, though.
Process.
As Frances said, she went there curious and realized it made a difference. So remained curious.
Right.
I think that's another component of it. That no, you're not going to be just saying, this is for me, it's going to cure me. No, it's about curiosity, and it's about,
I like it. Yeah.
Putting up with whatever it is for the sake of yourself.
Yeah.
Because in the past, you've put up with other stuff, not for the sake of yourself, for the sake of peace.
That's good, Rose.
Yes. And
Definitely.
now you're turning it around, and you're putting up with Tai Chi.
Yes.
For the sake of your body. I love it. I love it.
Then you grow to love it.
And then you're teaching it.
Yes. And you know what the funny thing is when I see people that I mentor and I actually send them over to other centers when I know that they're, you know, a difficult case, because I was a difficult case. I know all about it. So when I send them over and then they text me messages, they say, I can't do this anymore. I can't get through this. I will never make through this. And I'm like, yeah, you will. It's okay. Keep telling them this stuff. I like to hear it, because I already know you're going to make it.
What is it? Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. And sometimes you do need to vent with people and say, I don't think I can make it. It's okay to feel that way. Those are feelings. I want people to feel the sadness, the layers of the onion being peeled back to get to the core of the root cause. I want them to do it. And if they're not miserable, then they're not doing it.
You got it.
Let me tell you, I was very miserable for a while.
Into the conflict, fold into. That's what they say in India. You know, they say if it's hard, do it.
Yes,
that's what the gurus say. Like, yes, it's resistance. Fold into the resistance. Love the resistance. The resistance is freedom. Wow.
And it feels good to be miserable. Why? Because at the edge of the miserable feeling comes this joy you've never experienced ever in your life. And it's worth every minute of it.
Wow.
That's true.
And then to get up and not have to take a nap all day. And to just be vibrant all day long. Yes, I have my down days, but guess what? I just relish in my down days. And I'm like, oh, this is my rest day. I'm getting my good needed rest that my body told me I needed. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. I mean, I know it sounds cheesy, but I mean, I was so sad for so very long. I refuse to be there anymore.
Wow, is that what a cheerleader does?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a cheerleader.
No, but this is, you know, you're also telling your neurons This is the way you're firing. I'm wiring you. Please fire this way. I'm making a new habit. I'm carving a new pathway. This is science.
It definitely is.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with a whole bunch of published articles. I'll have to email you my resources, but there's this scientist, a neuroscientist, Anna, he's a psychotherapy person as well. And he talks about how our brains are wired to thrive on negativity, and we get more reward from our brain from negativity than positivity. And that's why you hear people complaining about their jobs, complaining about things. And it's not just one complaint. It's like 8 or 11 or 15 or 20 complaints at once because they're thriving off the negativity. So if you rewire your brain to thrive off of positivity instead of negativity, the negativity feels like this unwelcome energy, and it no longer is good for you.
Can you put the link? Can you give the link to Tova, and she'll put it on the side?
Yes, on my way to Sedona today, I'll send you guys that link.
I'll make a note to send right now. Amazing.
She's in Sedona. Isn't that the home of alternate
Are
lifestyles?
you living in Sedona?
No, I live in Mesa, Arizona, right near the Superstition Mountains, where there's other vortexes, of course, but I live about 2 hours and about 15 minutes from Sedona. I'm just going today with my mother and my daughter. So,
what's a vortex?
Well, basically, there's just these energy tunnels that come, and they're really high Earth energy, and they come in certain areas of the world. There are a lot of areas of the world that they are, and they give you special energy, like nourishing energy, almost like a stream of water with a lot of minerals would be. That's a good comparison. But vortex is not just for people who believe in metaphysical or, supernatural. It's actually a real scientific thing that is very nourishing for, not just our soul, but our body.
And it's in Sedona. It's in Arizona, just in those places?
Sedona has more vortexes than any place in the world.
No.
And Tova, there's one in Jerusalem as well, apparently.
There is?
Yes.
Rose and I are going to finally meet in person one day, and we're going straight to Sedona.
You are, and then I'll meet you there.
Oh my God! So continue on about some of the negative times and how you came out of it, and what kind of insights you did, and where did the Qigong come in, and how you began to teach, and you're now a vegan chef. And talk a little bit more about some of the details about your amazing journey and your sugar.
Yes, I like to go back to the time that I see many of my clients that are living in now, where I was working for corporate America. I was actually in marketing for 15 years, and I worked for some top 10 companies here in the United States, and I was like overachiever, always trying to keep up with the Joneses, that kind of personality. I know, like, to the heart of it, that wasn't me, but, at the time, that's what I was doing, burning my candle at both ends.
Wow.
And even though I even did it when I was sick until I couldn't do it anymore. But what I always ignored is what my purpose and passion was. We always think, oh, one day I wish I could do this, or I really wish I could pursue this as my real goal, but it doesn't make much money. Well, we're creating stops for ourselves. It's the same thing we do with health. When we go to the traditional doctors and they prescribe us, 8 medications, and then those 8 medications cause 8 different side effects. So then we're into another illness on top of our other illnesses, and we never really got anything solved. So that's why I love Qigong, because I have people who have been in chemotherapy now. They have several chronic diseases. And I tell them that the only way to solve a health issue in your physical body is to really heal those other aspects of your body. So that's what I've been doing with the Qigong. So instead of just having, I went to college 3 times, went to culinary school. I was like, I could never work as a chef. They're 18 hours a day. I could never do that. I will be exhausted after 4 hours, and I'd fall to the floor, and I would be defeated, and I could not do this. However, when we think about things we can do and make it work to our lifestyle, even if we have illnesses, and live our passion and purpose and make it work no matter what, and stop the overthinking of why we can't win at something, I think that's what's helped me greatly.
Wow.
Yeah. Just do it. That Nike ad thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Just do it.
You also
Doesn't matter how painful it is.
You adapted a purposeful lifestyle and a mission to what served you.
Yes. And I think looking at your other friends that are miserable, even though they have the optimal career, and then look at friends that are happy who have their optimal career, and kind of surrounding yourself with other successful people, I think really does help. Because, you know, I think a lot of us have been, in my community, have been talking a lot about this funny term. It says, you know, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. You know, so we need to be really receiving other people's knowledge and information and experiences, especially with health. It makes us better.
True.
So you're saying there's a real gift.
I mean, that's why we're doing this program, folks. Remember, bringing to light, thanks to the internet, as Tova says, that it's possible to heal from any of these somatic pains. But we've also got to listen maybe to the doctor, but know that the doctor's understanding of somatic pain is limited, unfortunately. And that's no criticism of them. They've been to university to learn all about disease and nothing about ease. So, I would also like to say that I found it very interesting that Frances is a culinary chef, but she actually started off her life with stomach pains, as she mentioned, and digestive issues. And I think it's really, really incredible that she's drawn to this and that it's her passion. So if you think about it from that angle, what was holding her back is now her growth. Just be aware of that. Keep going.
And you're so right, Rose. And you know, I see that in people. Sometimes your Achilles heel can turn out to be the best thing that moves you forward. It really can. And so that's why I love Qigong, because it allows me to be the chef. You know, I can make my own hours, which is great. And I do welcome, you know, entrepreneurship for a lot of people. And I do support you also in what you were talking about, doctors. I send people to regular doctors all the time. It's very important that we get, you know, the clinical things done and find out what's going on, not just intuitively, but, you know, medically. But the Qigong really just helps calm down. Like, I'm going to repeat this over and over today, is calm down this mind that just wants to go like a torpedo all the time, going crazy. You know, we want to calm it down and bring all our energy below our belly button and make that lower part of our body warm and the upper body room temperature or cool. That way, I don't know if you've ever heard the term, don't be hot-headed and your reactions are reactive.
Right.
I feel like where that came from is originally Qigong. It's thousands and thousands of years.
Well, they say that in the movie Love Heals. What's the water down?
Water up, fire down. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way I was taught.
Wow. Wow.
So even if you're having anxiety, you know.
Well, you know, the heat of anger is in the belly. Yeah. Isn't it? And it comes up. And when it rises up, it helps us. When we discharge it, we destroy our relationships. We destroy our self-esteem. But allowing that heat to just be in us and allowing it to actually percolate up and keep cool up the top, but allow that energy to be fully in our bodies.
Inflammation is heat. Inflammation is heat.
That's right, in the wrong place.
Yeah, very good.
I'd like to share a technique with everyone because it's my favorite one to tell all my clients.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
It's super easy. It's like the easiest thing ever.
Wonderful.
So even the healing practitioners that are well above me in experience, they'll call me up and say, I don't know what it is. I never have problems with my chakras or my body or my health, and I just can't get it together. I don't know what's going on. Even though I've told them many times, I have to remind them of this easy practice. So what you do is when you feel like things are out of sorts, it could be your health, it could be your emotions, whatever it is, you stop and you put a frozen, cold, wet wash rag on your neck and a heating pad below your belly for 20 minutes. It's called Reflowing Your Chi. So you'll
what is it called? Reflowing your chi.
I call it that, but I know there's other technical terms for it, but I try to put easy terms to it.
Tova, can you write that on our sidebar?
Reflowing your chi.
So that means just reflowing your energy.
So what the people are going to do, they're going to, because
a cold washcloth on your neck.
Cold.
It's been frozen because it needs to stay cold.
Right. So you wet the towel. I do this with the cold and hot of helping people's muscles.
Yes.
It's like deep inner massage, but this is different places of the body, hot and cold. So you take a wet towel, like the size of a hand towel or kitchen towel, and you put it in the freezer, and it gets kind of cold and stiff for a minute, and then you can mold it around. So a cold towel, wet it, and
put it in the freezer for 10 minutes.
And that goes
around the neck.
Around the neck. This is the base of the spine. I call that Grand Central Station.
And Atlas. The Atlas.
Atlas.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the first bone. It's called Atlas.
Yes.
This
goes
on
the axis
in the back of your neck, and then a hot water bottle
or a heating pad. I prefer because it stays hot, and then you can adjust, the temperature.
Or on your belly.
Yeah, but below the belly button,
above the symphysis.
Why below? Why below?
Because anything above the belly button needs to be cooler room temperature.
Oh my God, I love learning this. There's so many people in Israel that are doing Qigong. And there's so many people healing with cancer. It's like the most common thing to do for cancer and disease, Qigong. And I was studying it for a little bit, and then it got very complicated. It was in Hebrew, and I didn't do so well. But I have a bunch of books sitting on my shelf, and there's thousands of different kinds of Qigong. Number one, right?
There is.
And it's been studied by Harvard University. This is the Eastern medicine that is absolutely so scientific and so what's the word? It's when they were bringing Eastern and Western medicine together, that's when I think Qigong came to the West.
Yes.
And then followed around Europe, because it was been happening in, like we always thought, Tai Chi is from Japan. But Qigong, is it Japanese or Chinese?
It's originally Chinese, but it still has more of an Eastern thing for thousands of years. Only in the 70s in the 1970s did it go into the Western world.
Right.
And then it was really big.
There's a lot of research. That's what I meant to say. There's a lot of research about the benefits. And you're seeing that on these professional websites, these medical websites.
Yes.
It's something that, God willing, it'll be in Rose and mine's grandchildren. It'll be in the doctor's office, a Qigong brochure.
Yes.
In the doctor's office.
It should be in every especially for the pediatric area, in my opinion. Wow. So the Tao practice, the body and brain centers I go to, and I want to give them a shout out just because I think it's amazing what they do. There's a lady there. I know she'd be okay with me mentioning her name. She's very public. Her name's Chun, her spiritual name in Korean. And she's in the Chandler, Arizona area. She works out of the Mesa location now. And her leadership in the practice here helps foster children. So they're 501(c)(3). So when you take your Qigong classes and you pay memberships and you do all their programs, it's going towards, a big portion is going towards the foster kids. They get the foster kids in there that cannot make eye contact because they're so, emotionally damaged mostly and physically damaged. Yeah. They can't make eye contact at all. By the time they're done the Qigong for a weekend, 2 days in a row, in the beginning, it's not easy to get these kids to do anything. At the end, they have the self-esteem you've never seen in them before. It's just a beautiful process.
Frances, that is outstanding. Wow.
That might be good for ADHD kids as well.
I'm thinking for autistic, all children.
Yes.
Of movement. So why would you, again, I would think yoga would have those benefits, and I think they do, but there's something about Qigong. What is it?
I think it's because it's a moving meditation. So if you ask someone who has ADHD to do meditation, you're not going to get a good success from that because they just don't have the firing in their brain.
Moving meditation.
Yeah, my daughter actually has severe ADHD. She's been hospitalized as age 7 and misdiagnosed with bipolar. So I have a lot of experience in this. And I know about behavioral things because I've researched it for years. And so what they don't realize is they don't have the ability to meditate even if they try really hard. It's not about somebody trying harder, okay? Right. So what the great thing about Qigong is when you're making the movements, you're doing the movements for a while, and you're just doing exercise for a while, but then over time, I would say a good month is what it takes. You're meditating while you're moving, and it becomes something your body craves, because the whole time I always ask people, how are you feeling? How are you doing? They always say, my mind is quiet. But that's only after a month. They're pretty racing pretty hard before that, but you just got to practice it. So,
wow. Did anyone notice, as Frances was describing it, what her hands were doing? Did anyone notice?
Well, and I know that Qigong is so good for pain reduction and creating blood and oxygen. And, you know, organically, we're hearing benefits. And I believe that because what you're talking about is centering. You're talking about energy. And then you know, this may be something we don't always understand so much because we're not neuroscientists, but, you know, I know reading Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, you're resonating something, you're calling some kind of energy to you, and the body is somehow, didn't you do?
We had Ilan on last week. Tova, have you forgotten?
The music, yeah, the music we have. And I know
you're also that.
He's amazing. We talked about frequency and talked about water and
yeah, well, that's what we're talking about now from a different angle, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing from a different angle.
Definitely.
And that's the same thing that happens with all sorts of healing modalities, I suppose, that you're bringing some energy into your body by actually doing something. Yeah.
Right. And
anyway,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Keep telling us more, because it's really fantastic that you've chosen this path and that it's a healing path. But again, we've brought you many, many, many people that remind you that it's safe to put yourself out there and do something, anything, just do it.
Definitely. You know, I'm seeing more and more people do that and really start to grow. It's just amazing to me. I'm just so proud of them, even if they take one step in the right direction.
Playing devil's advocate, but what I want my pain to go away. I can't do anything with my pain. How can I do that when I have pain?
Then you think about pain differently. So that's the coolest thing about this. So I always say, if you don't have pain, you're not alive.
Oh,
pain means you're
physical. You went out on a limb there, Frances. You went out on a limb there. Sorry. Say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
If you don't have pain, you're not alive. This is your body signaling.
But it's stopping me from doing what I love, and it's hurting. It hurts. It hurts. Frances, what do you have to say about that?
I will say no one should live with chronic pain. And let's reduce the chronic pain by stopping the overthinking. And then let's manage our pain and embrace it. And when you actually, you know what, my pain got so bad that I became numb and I could not feel my pain. I had so many serious issues in the body, and my doctors would tell me there's something wrong with you if you're not feeling this pain. I wasn't even ever on opiates or anything, even though I was prescribed them, because I got so good at saying I have a high pain tolerance and I don't have pain. Well, that's what the Qigong did. It uncovered all the pain I was experiencing, and I felt every pain in my body. And it went from experiencing all the pain in my body to the pain being manageable, to the pain being welcome, to the pain being less. And that, when you go through it, the organic process like that, instead of being shoved to an instant gratification of fix my pain now, your whole realistic part of your body just brightens, and you're like, oh, this is the way we were supposed to live. When I have my Qigong students in class, I always say, now where does it hurt? We ask about what hurts physically in our body before we start the practice. And then after practice, we ask, and it's always like in the beginning, they're talking about it, maybe even spending 5 minutes on it. And then at the end of practice, it's always 5 seconds of, yes, my neck still hurts, but I'm calm. I feel great. You know, they have a different attitude.
Wow.
It's about our attitude about the pain.
The mindset.
The
Well
attitude
said.
has a lot to do with the mindset.
Yes. Yeah. And that changes you from being a warrior from being a victim to being a warrior, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look, would you talk a little bit more about Qigong and the fact that it's grounded? You were talking about energy before. And would you talk about the fact that as we talk about, or as we do Qigong, we're centered on the earth. We're part of being alive.
Yes.
Could you draw on that a little bit more? I know you use this word woo-woo. I think it's quite cute that you use that word. I don't really hear it in Australia, but maybe I'm out of circulation.
At the healing center that I work at, it's called Halo's Ascension Center in Mesa, Arizona.
What's it called? What's it called?
Halo's Ascension Center in Mesa, Arizona.
Ascension. Wow.
Yes, and it's really a healing center. We use physical therapy. We have doctorate of physical therapy that works there. We have kinesiologists. We have sound healers, DNA healers, all kinds of things there. But what our fun thing to say is, if you're not weird, you're not allowed here. Because, there's an old connotation that says if you're a weirdo, there's something wrong with you. No, it just makes us unique, and we sets us aside from everyone else. So the medical side of Qigong is basically, there's a lot of tapping your body. There's a lot of stretching. There's a lot of accumulating and strengthening your lower body, pulling your energy through your kidneys and harnessing that power in your what we call lower dantian, the lower part of our body, below that belly button. But it's also, our gut instinct, our soul, our intuition, the thing we need to listen to that's telling us to do things for our physical body.
Wow. Wow.
Wonderful. Now, are you going to give us a demo?
Sure.
Good.
Now, if anybody wants to sit in their chair and do it, they can with us.
Good.
We have elderly and people with chronic disease. I even sat in chairs at times, even though I'm a young person. I'll be saying that because I'm 29 every year. So you sit back in your chair, and I can show you some. I showed you some already. So if you're sitting in your chair, you can do this. But I love to stand up too. So if you can stand, it's really good. But sitting's completely fine too. So what you're going to do is just going to swing your body from side to side. Just simply swinging.
I've done this before. It's wonderful.
Yep.
Like this.
Just swinging your body from side to side. Now you're doing an opposite tap on your kidney when you're swinging. So you're swinging, tap, tap, tap. Basically, you're waking up your kidney when you're swinging. And
am I tapping it at a certain area at my body?
Just the opposite one with the opposite arm, just like you're doing.
It's such a nice flow of your arms.
Yes. Then you're going to go in the middle, and you're just going to swing your body in the middle. And let me tell you, if you have chronic shoulder problems like myself, this is very necessary. Just swing it. You feel all these things crunching in your body and releasing, and that's what Qigong is about, releasing stagnant energy in your body.
Wow.
So then you can do the thing.
And note how your back, especially for chronic back pain people, notice how your back's moving. The whole spine is moving. The spine remains stable, but the muscles are actually activated.
Yes.
And with chronic back pain, the muscles are frozen.
So you can sit and just shake your hands, make those wrists just move around. Oh my God, this is so good when you're sitting and you're doing conferences online. Always do this and then make yourself invisible while you're listening to the program. Just shake your wrists out. And then another thing I like to do is take the arm up over the head, hold it like here, and press all the way down your shoulder and stretch. This is called Meridian Stretching.
Wow.
Oh, does that feel good?
Yeah.
Oh. Now do the opposite shoulder. Really feel that stretch out. And then the last thing we'll do, so it doesn't turn into a whole class here, is called sinking your chi. So basically, when you stand up, you ground your feet to the ground.
Yeah.
And actually, you might want to stand up and do this one because it's very important to ground. So you stand, you ground your feet to the ground.
Yeah.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to imagine those toes being roots under soil underground, and really close your eyes and kind of shake your body a little bit and ground your toes to the ground. And then you're going to pull up your arms and then go above your head and pull the energy down all of your chakras to your half of your body, and then do a half bow. Come back up, and then you always want to do that 3 times total. So we're going to pull that energy up again. And then really feel that energy just pulling down your body. Half bow. And then lastly, when you do it the last time, you just really want to close your eyes and pull that energy up. Gather it. Pull it down. And then half bow. So that's just one of many, many things you can do.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you do that out on the grass, it's amazing.
Definitely.
It is absolutely amazing. And barefooted.
Magnetic and mineral energy going in there.
What do you think about grounding? My grandkids do that. They go barefoot all the time. What do you think about grounding for healing?
It's the #1 thing that helps people. The reason why, I'll describe this. My mom has actually got a serious heart defect. She's in her beginning process of Qigong, so she's nowhere near where she needs to be, but she's working at it. But she has a serious heart defect where she just had her 2nd pacemaker put in. And I was by the refrigerator the other day. You know, moms and daughters don't tend to listen to each other, but her and I are doing better at that. So I was at the refrigerator and I was like, grounding is basically this. This is the feeling of being ungrounded. Let me explain that first, because then it'll make more sense of what grounding is.
Good, lovely.
So being ungrounded is this. And I described what being ungrounded was, and my mom goes, that's exactly how I am. So I said to her, ungrounded is always wanting to go into your own world. You're floating up in your dream world. You're isolating yourself from others. And you're not feeling like you're a part of this world. You go into depression too, a lot of times. And you also obsess on certain topics in your life instead of being widespread in your knowledge and your experiences. And you feel kind of out of sorts, and you get anxiety. You get these flutters in you, like you don't belong on this earth.
Like, and that's disassociation or something even.
Yes. So being grounded is feeling like you're stable, like you ever heard of someone saying he or she is a pillar of their community? That means that they have a foundation and they're solid in all of their thinking and feeling and behaviors. And they feel more connected to the earth, like they have a purpose and a reason to be here.
And that's also a mindset. Like, I'm going to, that's like the neuron. I'm going to like wire that. Even if I don't feel it 100%, I'm going to think that, then envision that, imagine that. And then you're talking about some physical thing of really standing with, like, you adding the physical thing?
Yes, it has to be a physical thing, because when our physical body is weak and it doesn't do any cardio and it doesn't move around, we get very stagnant. And then when you get stagnant, the chronic pain starts because it's our body signaling something's wrong. And then from there, we go on to a 3rd stage where we float up and we disassociate from ourselves because we're no longer want to be in this body.
We get so in our head.
It's a form of anxiety.
So in our head.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a form of anxiety also. It's a way of looking at anxiety that's very, very deep anxiety. And that spacey feeling is about that. It's keeping us away from our own feelings. And I often think things like dementia and that sort of thing is the ultimate.
Wow.
What do you call it?
You're absolutely right. Yes. Mm-hmm. They had a new study that just came out last week, and I'll have to look up this source for you too. I'm good at remembering these things, but then I got to look them back up to find out where the link is. But basically, the new study came out last week that Alzheimer's is more prevalent in people who take naps during the day. And when they say naps, they mean like chronic napping. And usually people who with normal energy don't need to nap. maybe there's a stress involved that makes them nap, and that's fine. They're not talking about people who nap here and there. They're talking about chronic napping. So what happens when they're chronic napping is
shutting down. It's a form of shutting down already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what causes Alzheimer's. Yeah. I mean, a symptom, I'm sorry, a symptom of what causes it. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, some researchers in Norway have done work with ISTDP and people with Alzheimer's and slowed it down or made a difference anyway. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's
so many things
all about
to do
anxiety. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Frances, I just absolutely love this. Would you also talk about it? It's not everyone's cup of tea, but would you have a little talk to everyone about only eating plant protein? And
Sure. So
just in general, not so much. I mean, most of our viewers would be carnivores, but at the same time, it's important to know that omnivores.
Yeah.
It's better to be an omnivore than a total carnivore. That's,
Or is it?
they might like their steak, but at the same time, it's good to have their broccoli as well. So would you talk about that a little bit too, please?
So there's many studies. This isn't my personal opinion. It's just, it's very studied, is any kind of animal protein, dairy, or egg is always going to encourage disease and keep it really rampant in your body, even if it's organic, grass-fed, perfect meat in the world, okay? If you're a normal person that doesn't have disease, you can be flexitarian, which is, basically eating very large amounts of fiber like beans and vegetables, and then having meat as only a small part of your diet. The reason why is a very technical and scientific reason, nothing that I just believe in. I know it's this. I've listened to the doctors talk about. I've saw them, create study that cardiac disease does not actually exist at all when people are on plant-based diet. If it does, it's a defect. It's not something that was created by the diet. So the blood vessels themselves, no matter what type of meat, dairy, or eggs you eat, they have this sheath that goes inside the blood vessel. They're completely clear when you're plant-based, but when you eat any meat, any dairy, any egg, it clogs up the blood vessels. It's just a fact. So you can either live a long, high quality of life, or you can choose just to eat what you want, and then your blood vessels are going to look the same no matter what. So the whole thing is that it encourages inflammation when you have the animal proteins, animal fats in your body. And so an acidic body is a body that has cancer breeding, it has disease breeding in there. But a diet that's alkaline, and you can look all this up, it's alkaline versus acidic. A body that is alkaline, and let me give you an example. Let's say you ate a steak, broccoli, potatoes, and then you ate a snack, and then you ate maybe just a salad. Well, you still have animal protein in your body, so eat a bowl of chopped up cucumbers. That will put your body back into alkaline environment. There's these little things you can do for your diet, but just being aware of what your body is physically doing and making sure it's an alkaline body is what makes all the difference. It's not
I want to cheerlead just about, because we're not supporting any specific diet. We're supporting health through eating certain things, eating certain ways. My mother had MS, and she had an incredible long remission eating macrobiotics. We're talking umebochi plums and brown rice, and this is like, this is like 40, 50 years ago. So what I'm saying is that I think that the most important thing I'd like to say is that there's something called mindful eating, that no matter what you eat, that you're mindful about it, that you're loving, that you're gracious, that you're grateful, that you're enjoying it, that you're like the macrobiotics say, you eat your drink and chew your food. Like you swallow your drink so much it's like food, and then you drink your whatever. Anyway, so
I know what you're saying.
It's about mindfulness. It's about slow and mindful, and that's with ice cream or meat. And I'm a big believer of balance, which, a little tofu, a little donuts, but that's just my experience, because I think it's a very personal thing, the nutrition, and people have to find their way. And what you're showing us is an incredible way. And yes, a lot of people heal themselves with certain diets. Like we know Matt Embry comes in with Healing MS, and he's like, there's no cheat days, no cheat days.
I don't believe that.
Right. So, but that works for him.
You don't have MS though.
Right. That works for him. And I think we're talking about the neurons that fire together, wire together. I want it to work for me, and it's going to work for me. We're going back to placebo, and we're going back to this is what I'm goaling in my mind that this is going to make me better. This is called law of attraction. We're going deep here with energy.
Yes.
Okay. Could I just recap what Frances said? She was saying that something like cucumber actually gives us an alkaline base. And the thing is that doesn't show up on a blood test. So it's not really that we're not actually able to say without stretching the imagination that it's alkaline. You know, when the blood test comes out.
But we know how we feel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Don't look for the blood test in this, because it's not a blood test thing. It's more of a feeling of I don't know, how would you put it? Fullness. Lightness. That's better. Yeah. So, but I was interested in the fact that you said that the cucumber, and think about Indian food and that spicy food, you're always given cucumbers as well to refresh the palate. Yes. So, so just know that all of these things, you know, human beings have been around for millions of years, and gradually we've learnt all these things, but we haven't actually put them together scientifically, I suppose, because there's still so much more knowledge to discover. But innately, we seem to know what's good for us. And I love that, Frances, their whole idea, having that gap. You know, when you go to what's it called? It's called drinking tea, and you have dumplings and you have tea.
Oh, Chinese restaurant. A Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. What's it called?
Dim sum.
Yes, dim sum.
Yeah.
You drink tea. You drink tea because that's the pause, and that's, you know, you have your dumplings and then you have your pause with your tea, and that's honoring the body in a way as well, in the same way, like having the cucumber. I
would like to bring up something about the plant-based that I just recently learned too. I'm always learning things, even though I don't cheat by eating meat, dairy, or eggs. I do cheat as far as doing 80-20 plan, which is, you know, 80% of everything I eat is vibrant and healthy, and the other 20% is whatever I feel like eating. It may be vegan junk food, you know.
I love it.
You know, because, like, you know, sticking to a rigid diet is not sustainable. It's not realistic, and it's not nourishing to your soul or your mindful or intuitive eating. It's like weighing yourself every day and expecting that scale to move so fast. I mean, it's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is you're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You're going to be able to move better. You know, these are very important. But there's a new thing I learned that, and it was affecting me, you know, right when I think I got it all figured out, I learned a new thing. So I was waking up the other day and, you know, I was going to do a cold shake, and I do that occasionally. You know, when I'm busy, I'll do like a vegan protein shake. It's very healthy. It's got chlorophyll and all kinds of yummies in it. And I read an article, but right before I made my shake, and it said that cold things in the morning are very bad for your body, your digestion. So it really kind of halts your digestion and then starts clogging everything up, so that you should have warm foods in the morning. And they really prefer you having those shakes in the afternoon, late afternoon or evening. So that's not something we're taught, is it? We're taught sometimes to go in there and just pile up that shake. Now, if it's a room temperature shake, I'm sure that would be fine. But I actually put it to the test because I was like, I want to see. I always want to test things out. So I saw a big improvement in my digestion. And then in January 1st, I gave up coffee. It was giving me very bad acid reflux. And that's one thing I thought I'd never give up. But I only had 1 cup a day. But now I can't drink coffee either. So those two things of changing my diet has made a big impact on my digestion. And we just always got to be in touch with what's going on.
Wow. And so the thing that you never thought you could do, like you never thought you could be a chef, and you never thought you could give up coffee. And I was scared to swim. And I found myself as an adult, teaching people in the water exercise. So
wow,
it was the same thing. I was petrified to be in the water. So here you are, because I couldn't imagine giving up coffee, but who knows,
Let me tell you, acid reflux is worse than coffee.
But guess what? If you wanted a cup and you were ready and you made friends with that cup of coffee, you probably couldn't. I'm just saying it starts here. It really starts here. And yet that's working for you. And you have this energy. You're your own caffeine. You're your own caffeine pill.
Exactly. My daughter brought me this nice herbal tea today.
Amazing.
Yes. Talk about this energy. When you started our conversation, you're talking about losing your energy in the afternoon. And yes.
The 4 o'clock slump.
Yeah. And this is a chronic pain symptom that many, many people have. Would you mind talking about that and also drawing yourself out of it? Because there must have been some belief system going on with your Tai Chi that actually drew that energy into you to say, because the idea of it being a habit, well, I always have a bit of a siesta in the afternoon. Well, the energy says, no, I don't need it anymore. But the habit says, but I'll need it. If I don't have it, I'll be no good at 6 o'clock. Could you actually talk about that? Because it's about a mindset as well as an energy thing. So the energy comes in and then the mindset has to shift gradually. Some people will shift it straight away, but on the whole, it's a gradual movement and people become so impatient with the fact that it's not happening straight away. True. Would you mind actually talking about that sort of transition?
Absolutely. So that's been one of my difficult things. So I had 2 major problems when I had I'm so happy I'm saying when I had chronic disease, because even though in the blood work it says I still have disease, I don't. Wow. So basically the 2 things that have bothered me the most about the whole process, of going through that chronic disease to where I am now and that 4 o'clock slump that you're talking about is, first of all, used to be a sugar addict. Secondly, I also always, with Hashimoto's, knew it wasn't just my willpower that was making me not be able to overcome the tiredness. That's a key thing we need to understand. If you're down on yourself because you're laying on that couch too long or you're laying in your bed too long and you're so tired, please don't be hard on yourself, okay? It's not you that's doing this. It is the disease that has taken over that is doing it. But then you have to stand in your power and you're saying, okay, you can label that disease whatever word you want, okay? You say to that word or that energy, you no longer have power over me, okay? And then you make a very small plan with little baby steps to get to where you want to be, and you don't put it all on yourself to change overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah, it never works when you try to say, I'm just going to be, I'm just going to have energy.
Yeah. But Francis, the mindset of a person with somatic pain will tell you that it's got to be done immediately. So that's part of the mindset. And that's often coming from early childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. If I don't turn around and shift and change, I'll be thrown out of the nest, so to speak. Wow. So this mindset is, it's got to be done now. And and that doesn't work for a human being. It just creates more havoc. So yeah, that's why I want to sort of draw that out a little bit. So it's okay to be patient with yourself. It's okay to falter. It's okay to pick yourself up and go again.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. It's like a journey. It's a pilgrimage.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's a million times. You have to pick yourself up. I would like to give everybody a pointer today. It's a simple thing. It isn't a change overnight thing, but I think it's helped me greatly. And it literally is the most elementary thing. And it's not a change now kind of thing either. So what you do is on Sunday, and I like Sunday because it plans me for the whole week. On Sunday at 4 p.m., I give myself 30 minutes to plan out my week. And I do my business meetings. I do my self-care, which is a big category. It needs to be a third of all the things you do when you have chronic disease. Self-care. People are like, what do you mean? I don't have that kind of time. We're not talking about.
Okay. Hey, Frances, go slow so Tova could write this down.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's do it.
I like to also call this setting intentions.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Good. Okay, let's call it that. Okay.
Setting intentions.
Yes.
So in that 30 minutes, you do 1/3, your work life. And if you don't have a work life, then you have more time for self-care. So you do 1/3 work or school. People are in different areas of their life. It's okay. 1/3 self-care.
8 hours work, 8 hours rest, 8 hours play.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
So Sundays at 4 p.m. I'm still at Sundays at 4 p.m.
Okay.
The 8-hour day.
I'm taking my time. Sundays at 4 p.m. Go ahead.
And then you just go with 1/3 work or school, 1/3 self-care.
1/3 self-care.
And then the other 1/3 just daily tasks that you need to get done. Because when you have chronic disease, daily tasks can be a lot. I don't know if it's like loading your dishwasher or putting out the trash or whatever you are responsible for in your household, gardening,
So the 1/3 each is.
You've forgotten sleep, ladies.
Oh,
it's in there. You can schedule sleep, definitely. I love that.
There's no third left. There's 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3.
We're talking about like a 9-hour day. I'm only doing like 9 hours. So.
Okay. But we're talking about intention. So you're basically you're giving the people the topics. Okay, like under these topics, just take time for each of it. So we're goaling and we're setting boundaries. Also setting boundaries, which is another entire show.
Yeah. And also, ladies and gentlemen, when you don't fulfill it, tomorrow's another day.
Exactly.
You're not always going to fulfill
forgiveness.
it.
Forgiveness.
But that punitive part of you will condemn you.
Right.
For not being able to.
Forgiving for whatever happens, And
don't overschedule.
It's fine.
That's the biggest thing.
Clarify that, please.
I will.
Because that's something else that's a very normal thing.
No,
in this society.
I'm not ready. I'm overscheduling. I don't think I'm overscheduling. I don't think I'm overscheduling. This is my life. So rather than just accept what you do. Accept the reality. Accept that you're ahead.
I think everyone should do trial runs on their new set and attention week. So that's what I did until I figured out
fine-tune spots. And then fine-tune it.
Yes, that's what I did.
For the rest of your life.
Yes. So when I schedule my week and I think, oh, that's pretty reasonable. And then I get through the week and I'm like, okay, subtract 2 things. That was not reasonable. Now it's reasonable. And then you find your sweet spot of where you like to live. And when people try to get in your sweet spot and try to interfere with your sweet spot, you need to be able to say no. Just no.
That's a
no explanation. No explanation.
No defending myself.
No.
No excuses.
To get you nowhere. People pleasers like myself and others with chronic disease who are usually people pleasers. This is the hardest thing for us to learn. But once we learn it, it's like pure freedom.
So important, Frances.
Yeah.
So
when you learn it, remember that it's also going to trip up.
Yes.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Because
once upon a time it wasn't okay
yes.
to have your own opinion or your own needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And especially with parenting and things like that, the child's needs come first. But
always.
Within that, your mental health is important to actually provide for the child's needs. So just keep that in your mind.
It totally is.
Yeah.
So
wow, Frances, it's just been a lovely, lovely talk today, and anyone who wants to know more about
Frances, I'm going to put you have a beautiful website. about the vegan chef, and I think I saw something about Qigong there. Maybe you'd like to send us a YouTube of any of your Qigong classes. Like we can put a little.
Oh, that's right.
A little piece on there and invite people. Like,
I think the best thing for me to do is provide my email address, and they can email me because that's how I Zoom them in. But starting April 16th, that's the date, April 16th, I am going to be offering members of TMS Roundtable chat here, whoever's on here, even in the future. They get a free class by me. They just email, look, need a free class. And then I'll email them the link. And then if they don't clue into the live recording, they can watch the pre-recorded one.
Amazing. So let me have your email.
It's F as in Francis, R, A, N as in Nancy, G, F, R, E as in elephant, E as in elephant, at gmail.com.
F-R-A-N-G at?
No, F-R-A-N-G, free, at gmail.com.
Free?
Yeah,
Fran G.
Fran G free at
gmail.com.
Gmail. And this is for an introductory class, free, complimentary Qigong class.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's an hour and
Qigong.
Yeah, Qigong.
Okay, wonderful. This is amazing. It's really, it's I think it's all over the world. They have it in Australia, don't they, Rose? Qigong. I mean, it's all
I did a week of it once. It was lovely.
Yay!
Oh, wow. Wow. Francis, we're so excited. I'm so happy I met you through the Love Heals community, and that you're there in Arizona. And we're going to be having some time changes in the next couple of months with our show. So we'd like to bring you back in a nighttime in Arizona, and it'll maybe just Rose or just I. And we can, because all the things you said need to be repeated over and over again, because they're profound insights, like wisdom, words of wisdom. And you have stood the test of time. Really, I'm so blessed to meet you, and you're inspiring to so many of the clients that Rose and I are working with. So we will have you back, and I'm sending all these amazing blessings. You're hanging out with your mom, who there was a conflict, and now there's a love fest.
Yes, let's hope it lasts.
And to all the mothers and daughters, and it's
a complex, dynamic. But I'm looking forward to it very much so.
This is a relationship, and relationship with pain, relationship with your body, relationship with, that's how we learn. We're relationship beings.
We totally are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute
wonderful
pleasure.
Day. Rose, have a wonderful day. I always love seeing you here. Thank you so much for getting up at 4 a.m. this morning, Rose. You are really amazing. I know.
Thank you.
We'll meet again. See you next Monday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.